welcome to Animals Labs. We're back again. We're going to look today at the new champions, as I like to do these patch note views. We're going to go through what we know is the fusion champion and what we believe are going to be the rares and epics that go into it. So we think that it's going to be a fusion on what we call the old school, where you have to level up the rares and then the epics and go into it. But these are the Christmas ones. So let's begin. We've got Gisela Soul Guide, legendary, force, defensive and sacred order. She looks a bit more like an angel when you actually see the picture. First thoughts on here is we think she's probably going to be pretty useful in arena, but here we go. So glittering slash attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Also applies a debuff spread, taking 1 random debuff from the target and placing all enemies under freeze. So this is quite strong. If it applies the freeze first with a 50% chance when booked, then you pass that across. Now, she can't spread the freeze. She could spread the freeze onto person with a freeze. Does that stack? And you can't. Maybe it picks the first one. I don't know. It's an interesting ability. It's okay for an A1. A2, Breath of Rime. Love the ice feel of this already. Attacks all enemies, places 25% weaken debuff. Also steals 1 random buff from each enemy under freeze. So, I mean, that depends on the scaling of that. It could be quite good. She's a defensive type champion. So, you know, you're going to be able to build a defense and this. And again, as I say, in arena, that'll be useful. A3, Everwinter. Places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, which is really nice. Has a 60% chance of placing a freeze debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. And it books to 60, 70, 80, 85 with sniper. Fills this champion with freeze debuff. It's a nice ability. It's a place, so there's no weak hits involved. I like this ability. I'm not sure. Kind of wish it was 100%, but then she's probably too strong. The passive is what's big about her. This champion skills cannot be put on cooldown. Now, I think lock skills debuff are still going to stop you from using them because they're going to be on a 0. You could have them on a 0 turn, but you can't use them. The next one is whenever an enemy tries to put either this champion skills or an ally skills on cooldown, places a freeze debuff on that enemy. Also has a 50% chance of denying the cooldown increase effect. So it's a 100% chance, because you can see from below, of placing a freeze. So someone like Warlord and then this freeze cannot be blocked or resisted, will not deny cooldown increasing effects of bosses. So it's probably not going to be that useful in the boss fight, but yeah, it's not going to work in the boss, which is a shame. But she's really good in arena. You know, ally resist in all battles is good. I think she's a good champion if you get her, and she's not like a 100% must build, but she's definitely going to be good seen around high plat arena. This is the fusion one, so we're going to do that one after. Legendary Void. Void, so it's probably going to be a pain to get. Attack Lizardmen. We have a 75% chance of sleep debuff on one enemy. Sleep is like the worst debuff, so we'll see. Heartstopper. Oh wait, no, sorry, Venom Stomp. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Nice. And it's got 100% chance of placing a poison debuff for 4 turns. That's nice. And the second chance has a 100% chance of placing decrease defense for 3 turns. Why couldn't that read places the decreased defense the first attack and then the second attack goes through? Because that made him good in arena. And the poison. I mean, it's nice. His A1 isn't adding anything to this right now. Just wondering if he's going to be good in like Clan Boss or something. Heartstopper attacks one enemy, then attacks one time at random. If the target is under a poison debuff, will ignore shield block damage and unkillable. Grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Also resets the cooldown of Venom Storm if this attack kills 2 enemies. So attacks one enemy, kills. There's a potential this actually makes him a campaign farmer because he can attack again, and then reset Venom Storm. Interesting. Instantly attacks enemies with the default skill whenever they receive damage from a poison debuff. That's awesome. It's placed by this champion. He's only got 1 poison. It does last for 4 turns though, and that ability is on a 3-turn cooldown. When hitting enemies under poison, heals this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted. He's nice, but I don't know where you want to use him. He's obviously going to be good in faction wars, right? Poison. I think early game, if you get him, he's good in Clan Boss before you want defense down and weaken. But it's such a weird place to have it on the second attack. And I wish that first hit was 2 poisons, because then, you know, he's obviously going to get 2. He's going to have it trigger once 2 attacks. But if you made this once per turn, I like him. I don't know where you'd use him. Yeah, and then we've got the Fusion Champion. Legendary, Spirit, Defense, High Elves. Yeah, he's not an elf, but apparently he's Arbiter's Ride or something. Attacks one enemy, has 100% chance of placing a decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. That's nice. It's really nice, because decreased accuracy is good against bosses. Wings of Shelter places a block debuffs and a 60% increase all allies for 2 turns. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown. Perfect. Otherworldly Breach attacks all enemies. Places Perfect Veil, so I'll come back to that, on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns, equal to the damage inflicted. So he isn't shielding him, the rest of the team, but Perfect Veil is really strong in Hydra. One of the bosses, the Head of Torment, I think it is, puts fear debuffs on unless you've got a Duchess who also does Perfect Veil. If you manage to keep your team at full health with Reactor Draft, which is a problem to do, you often get one champion that's just going to fall up, take fear, and the whole turn goes out of order. But this guy can, if you build him high resistance and he's a defense champion, so he probably scales well there anyway, will keep them all from getting fear. Glimmerhide is his passive. When attacked, reflects 30% of the damage this champion received back to the attacker. Also has a 30% chance of placing a freeze. So just 30% back to those Hydra bosses. He's going to be good in some of the Perfect Veil reduces AoE damage. So he'll be good in things like Ice Golem. And increases allied defense in Doom Tower by 35. So all in all, I think this is a legendary worth going for. I'm quite happy to put that out there, especially as Juice is Wild. This is going to be the clan line. We've got the first of the epic, so we know that this is like a 4 epic, 4 rare, so that's why we're thinking it's going to be an old school style. What have we got here? Shadowkin. We know the Shadowkin faction wars coming up soon, so we were imagining we're going to see 4 or 5 Shadowkin. We were expecting that, but anyway. Attack, magic, yep. Psy Assassin attacks one enemy 2 times, has additional 20% chance of inflicting critical hits if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. Nice. So I don't know if you'd ever count on that. It's just damage. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Will ignore 20% of the target's defense. Has an additional 20% chance of inflicting a critical hit if under Veil or Perfect Veil. Okay. Fade into nothing. Places a perfect Vow buff, and a 30% increase on this champion for 2 turns, then fills this champion's turn meter by 40%. I guess it means you're going to get your Silent Parting once and Sire Assassin once under the perfect Vow. But you're still going to have to build 100% crit rate because this A2 doesn't have 100% crit rate under the Vow. So the A1 to me just feels pretty meh. When this champion is attacked, completely blocks one. When this champion is attacked, completely blocks one hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0, then counter attacks with the default skill. When attacked by a boss, decreases the incoming damage by 50%. Okay. And then increases crit rate and ally by 15%. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, it will go to a 2-turn cooldown. So you're going to attack twice, you're going to block the damage, and then attack again. It's okay. I don't know where you would use her outside of Faction Wars. You know, early game, she's going to do you a lot of damage, single target. Which isn't the absolute end of the world, but I don't think it's like game defining. Masamoto, they had to have one, didn't they? The old samurai sword wielding individual. Got a lot of books. Defense, which is nice. Spirit, again, Shadowkin, as I said. We're expecting a lot of Shadowkin. Dual Slice, attacks one enemy 2 times. So Dual Slice attacks one enemy 2 times. Has a 10% chance of stealing one random buff. Books to 30% for like 50 books. Nothing special. Steel Typhoon attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack for 2 turns. Books to 75%. Okay. And Yojimbo places 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns and fills the turn meter by 15%. He's filler, sits in your vault. You might use him as if you need a 5th epic for Faction Wars. More Dark Elves. Spirit support. It's like 3 Spirit champions. No. It's a lot of Spirit pots, everyone, for the Fusion be warned. Hopefully the rares are not all Spirit. Ectoplasm attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. Increases by up to 100% chance if under decreased crit rate or decreased crit damage. That's not bad for an A1. Haunt attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance of placing, when booked, of placing decreased crit rate and decreased crit damage on all enemies for 2 turns. Dark Dealings places 30% increased crit rate and increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% on a 3-turn cooldown, and increases the speed of all enemy allies within by 24% in dungeons only. So she's supposed to be using dungeons, right? The dragon can't be affected by decreased speed. The spider can, but she's not doing anything that helps there. I'm not even sure if the ice golem can or cannot because I don't fight it that much. But again, I think it's kind of average. I like what they're trying to do here, but I don't think I'd want this to be Vault Guardian for me. For like, unless you needed the speed lead in dungeons early game. It's not even in a faction where you care about it for faction mods because you just got better champions. Force, defense. Lizardman always needs more champions for faction wars. Attacks one enemy. Each hit has a 30%. How much does that book to? 30, 40, 50%. They have to be under decreased speed. Okay. So I like that A1. If you can get decreased speed out, this is a nice A1. Defend the nest, places of ally 50% ally protect on an ally, not all, on an ally. Then block buffs on that ally for 1 turn. Also places a shield on this champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of its max HP. So shield an ally and all enemies has a 40% books the 50% chance of placing a stun. Okay. And the chance increases to 75, 85, 90 if they're under decreased speed. So you're going to want someone else with decreased speed in the team for this even to work before we look at the passive. But that's not bad. You know, 80%, 90% chance of stun with the correct masteries. I just wish it went to 100 because you've got the... I don't see there being a problem in there. Egg Watcher. Whenever this champion is attacked or when allies under ally protection buffs are attacked, has a 30% chance, 40, 45, 50% chance of placing 30% decreased speed on the attacker for 2 turns. An aura, increase ally defense in all battles by 25%. I guess he's good in faction wars because they don't have any champions if you need a 5th one. I was hoping, like, I can see a niche use in him. He's a defense champion. You build him really tanky. Tanky resistance and some accuracy with just some speed, and then you use patient tactician and someone who can place decreased speed on the magma dragon in Doomtown, because that boss can be provoked, and if you can keep him provoked permanently like I do with 2 or 3 provokers, then he never gets to actually do anything other than basic attack. And this is on an A1, so you can do it every turn. Counter attack in there, you might have hope of keeping it up 100%. That's where I see him potentially having a use, but there's not. I don't. These are the legendaries for the. These are the epics for the legendary fusion. I don't see any reason why you just wouldn't go for this champion right now. Let's look at the rares. We've got some more Shadowkin. Force, attack, Shadowkin, cool. Attacking one enemy has 30, there's a 50% chance, because you just build them with crit rate, of placing Leech for 2 turns. I don't mind that actually, that's quite a nice A1. Wandering's Weirdling has a 50% chance, books to 75 and goes up to 80 with the effect of placing a 15% decreased speed. Also places a 15% increased speed on this champion only for 2 turns if the attack is critical, so it will be. And then Waste Away attacks one enemy, decreases the max HP by 30% on a 4-turn cooldown. I mean, it's okay for a rare. It's not like a cold heart or anything. Castigator, magic HP, rare, sacred order, fair enough. Castigate, obviously. 25% chance of provoke. We're going this way, there's no reason for this. 25, 30, 40, 45 on an A1. Doesn't need anything else on it. He's already better than the epic. Heals the ally with the lowest HP by 20% of this champion's max HP, then equalizes HP of all allies. It's like a massive cooldown, but I don't think that's too bad. And then receives 15% less damage from enemies under provoke debuffs. He's not bad again in that dragon I was telling you about, but all in all, not something you keep unless you really need him. Misericord. Bannerlord's attack and magic. Okay. Pity Slaying. Attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed. 25, 30. That's not too bad. Each hit. So it's 30% twice. I actually quite like that. Decreased speed. Attacks all enemies. 3-turn cooldown. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5%. So 25% or 20% depending on what you're attacking. Bitter Tears places a counter attack buff and a 25% increase on this champion for 2 turns. Nothing special, but if you need decreased speed at rare, makes sense. I mean, fair enough. Well, we've actually got 2 magic and 2 force. That's a lot of magic pots. Ordinator. Force, Dark Elves. Fair enough. Weighty Punishment. 25% chance of placing a freeze for 1 turn. Okay. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance. 50, 60, 70, 18, 85. For placing a bomb for 2 turns. Okay. When attacked, has a 30% chance of decreasing or bomb debuff detonation. Okay, so he puts bombs out and then you attack against them. Yeah, okay. All in all, I think they're okay. I don't think you're going to save for any of the epics. I think you just want to go straight for this rare, legendary, and enjoy the fact that he's good in Hydra for you. You know, you're going to enjoy the fact that he's going to block your team, he's going to increase their defense, and then he's going to protect them from the fear. So if you don't have Shamiel and or you don't have Duchess, or you don't have 3 of them, this guy's worth getting just for Hydra. I like the Doom Tower debuff. That's one of the higher ones I've seen for Doom Tower. And the accuracy is good in some bosses. So all in all, my vote is go for this guy and ignore the rest of them. Thank you for watching. Till next time, have a good day and stay safe.